Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. We're back with another question. Is the Basmallah an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha? And to add to that, is it a ayah of every other surah of the Quran? We know that the mashhur, popular opinion of the Maliki school is that the Basmallah saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim is not an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha, nor is it an ayah of any other surah of the Quran. And it's actually makruh to do it, especially in the fard prayer. This is the mashhur. If you look at the scholars overall, you find four main opinions. We mentioned the Maliki one, that it is not an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha, nor is it an ayah of any other surah of the Quran. Then you have the Hanafis, and they say that it is actually a divider only. So it is not. They also agree with the Malikis that it is not an actual ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha or any other surah, but they say it's an actual divider between each surah. And then the Shafi'is, most of the Shafi'is, they say that the Basmallah is an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha and every other surah of the Quran except for chapter number 9, Surah At-Tawbah, Surah Bara'ah. Then most of the Hanbalis, they say that it is only an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha only. As you can see, a lot of ikhtilaf there, and it's really two things that we need to focus on. Firstly, is it an ayah of the Quran, right? And then do we recite it out loud or not, if it is, right? Obviously with the Malikis, right, they don't even recite it at all, right? But you find that everything goes back to the narration of Anas ibn Malik, right? And Imam Malik in his Muwatta narrates one narration of it that I'm about to read right now. That in the Muwatta it says وحدثني عن مالك عن حميد الطويل عن أنس بن مالك أنه قال قمت وراء أبي بكر وعمر وعثمان فكلهم كان لا يقرأ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا افتتح الصلاة. Right? And this narration is actually in Sahih Muslim as well, mentioning the Prophet Muhammad sallam as well. So it's actually marfu' in the Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet Muhammad sallam is mentioned, then Abu Bakr, then Umar, then Uthman. But then we have the Hanbalis and the Hanafis, right, where they actually, like we said, we mentioned the ikhtilaf, but that they actually mention it to themselves in prayer, right? Obviously, they both view the Basmallah differently, but they use a proof of Anas ibn Malik in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, where the Prophet Muhammad sallam, he recited it quietly, silently. And then the Shafi'is, they use a narration of Anas ibn Malik that in Al-Hakim actually narrated in his Mustadrak that the Prophet Muhammad sallam actually said it out loud, right? So you see that all the narrations of Anas, say something differently, and every school actually relied on one. So actually, some scholars actually said that the narration of Anas ibn Malik, they said it's muttarib, that it is conflicting. In ittirab actually is a type of weak hadith, right? That it's conflicting. You can either be conflicting of the chain or conflicting of the metin. And the metin, there's too many conflicting narrations of Anas saying what he's reporting. So a lot of scholars scholars of hadith said this was actually weak. So let's not even use the hadith of Anas in this argument. Let's go to the other narration in the Muwatta. It's a long narration actually. We'll just get to the part that we need. And this is the hadith of Abu Hurairah that he narrates from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man صلى صلاة لم يقرأ فيها بأم القرآن فهي خداج هي خداج هي خداج غير تمام." Right. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's narrated to have said, "To the one who prays and does not recite the mother of the book," referring to Surah Al-Fatiha, then his prayer's incomplete. The prayer is incomplete. The prayer is incomplete. He mentioned it 3 times, right? That referring to how the prayer is incomplete. So that's one part of the hadith. The second part of the hadith, actually, so this actually overall is a hadith Qudsi, right? So the Prophet Muhammad actually narrates from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Prophet Muhammad is saying, قال الله تبارك وتعالى قسمت الصلاة بيني وبين عبدي نصفين. Right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that I've divided the prayer between me and my slave into two parts. فَنِصْفُهَا لِي وَنِصْفُهَا لِعَبْدِي. That so half of it is for me and half of it is for my slave. وَلِعَبْدِ مَا سَأَلٍ, and for my servant or my slave what he asks for. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم اقرأوا, or rather it says, it says اقرأوا يقول العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين يقول الله تبارك وتعالى حمدني عبدي. Right? We can stop there. We really don't need to continue. The point of this hadith, why I'm bringing it, is that the Prophet Muhammad is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he mentions with regards to Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. There's no mention of the Basmallah whatsoever. So this is proof that the Basmallah is not an ayah of the Quran. So also this is a hadith in Sahih Muslim as well. Similar wording to this narration. So those are two proofs. Again, the hadith of Anas, because of the conflicting narration, we won't actually use it. We'll use the hadith that I just mentioned. Again, it's in the Muwatta and Sahih Muslim. There's also some of the later Malikis, they added the proof in Sahih Bukhari in the opening chapter, Revelation, Badil Wahi, where we know the narration of Aisha radiallahu anha, it's a long narration, where the Malak, Jibreel, comes to the Prophet Muhammad, he says, Iqra. The Prophet Muhammad says, Ma ana biqari, Iqra, ma ana biqari, right, read, I cannot read. And it happens until the Jibreel actually holds the Prophet Muhammad tight. Then he says, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. Right? So here, there's no mention of the Basmallah. It goes right to Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. So if the Basmallah was an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha, then it would have been mentioned. But I'm going to mention to you one proof that is actually stronger than everything that I mentioned. Right, to really solidify the Maliki stance in this issue, and this is the stance bin Nadar. Right, this is more logical and a more analytical. That the fact, and this is a saying of Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi, the great Maliki scholar, and others as well, that they said, okay, the fact that there's even ikhtilaf in this. The fact that the Fatiha has been disputed in the Quran can't be disputed. That means that this is a proof that the Fatiha is not an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha or any other surah of the Quran. And even though we mentioned a lot of narration, they're all authentic and they all prove the Maliki stance. I mean, but the one that really just solidifies, because every other school has their own proof. The Shafi'is have their proof. The Hanbalis have their proof. And also just to note, that so we mentioned that the Shafi'is, they believe it to be an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha and every other surah except for Surah Al-Bara'ah. They actually recite the Basmallah out loud, right? In the Hanbalis, in the Hanafis, so we said the Hanbalis, they believe it to be just an ayah of Surah Al-Fatiha. They recite it silently. The Hanafis recite it silently, but they believe it's just a divider. And the Malikis, they don't recite it at all, right? No silent, no out loud, nothing, just not at all, right? So we mentioned 4 different opinions, and then it goes into 3 opinions with regards to reciting it. So that's pretty much that. And we're gonna kind of end with, so there's a lot of ikhtilaf in that, and inshallah, I showed that why the Maliki position is the strongest. We mentioned 2 narrations in the Muwatta, 1 hadith in Sahih Bukhari. And then we really ended it with, I think, the biggest proof of all, and that, like I said, is mentioned by Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi and others, that the fact that there's ikhtilaf in the Basmallah being an ayah, that's enough proof to show that the Basmallah is not an ayah, because the Quran cannot be disputed. So, wallahu a'lam, wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.